Hi everyone, welcome. Today, I'm very excited to share VIP guest, Miriam. And if you're wondering who has been behind the camera filming me, Miriam! Today, we're gonna talk about kindness. It's a topic that Miriam and I are both quite passionate about. Personally, I think we're experiencing a cesspool of civility in the world, especially in the United States. That may be a whole nother topic of conversation. But one day, Miriam and I were talking about how one of our values is being a kind human being. And I really wanted to hear Miriam's perspective because I think there's similarities between us, but also differences. Most importantly, I think, Miriam, you're such a wise individual. You're only 28. Mm-hmm. I cannot believe it. You're like so much more wise than I was at 28. And I appreciate the fact you have really thought deeply about how you can extend kindness into the world. So let's start with, how did you become a kind person? Not everyone is.
Oh gosh. Yeah, from a young age, I was just very involved with my family's ministry and seeing a lot of things that are much bigger than my world at 7, 8 years old. I don't think most kids realize like how big the world is and how many problems and things are out there, but yes. I was in the thick of it for so many years. And so I think it just died to self, like you just kind of ignore your own things because there's so many things out there that are much bigger, which led into some other problems with setting personal boundaries later in life. But I also think that it just broadened my perspective so much at a young age. It developed an empathy and it developed an awareness for other people's needs and some perspectives.
Thank you for sharing your upbringing. I think it's so interesting you're able to travel around the United States because your father was a minister. Is he still a minister?
He is.
He is. He's still a minister. And so how did your parents instill kindness into their children? What did they model?
Oh, they definitely led by example so much. I mean, we talked about things and the values that we wanted to live by, especially being in front of people like that. It's not just like we're living our life in front of people that, we're trying to set an example for as well. But yeah, they modeled so much in the sense of lending a hand to someone who needs remodeling done on their house or, even with my dad's ministry, just being there for people.
And listening, right? Which can be so powerful.
It was a really great dynamic. My dad was ministering and my mom was there for anyone who needed to talk. So it was the perfect pairing.
So I'm wondering, for you, as you have grown up, right, you've evolved into your own person, how do you live a life filled with kindness? What does it mean to you to go out in the world and interact with people and ensure that kindness is front and center?
Well, like you said, I think life is just too chaotic and so, I don't know. Everything's just kind of a downer in our society. So why feed into that any more than we have to? I think that we are meant for so much more. There's little things that we can do every day that just make a huge difference in someone's life. You mentioned earlier, as we were talking, prepping for this, you're like smiling at somebody in a grocery store. It's so simple. A lot of people don't even know how to take it. It's wild. But I feel like it is the kindest thing. Like whenever someone smiles at me in a grocery store and I'm like open to it, I'm like, oh, that was so nice.
And it's so interesting how we can automatically think, what does this person want? Or, stranger danger.
We have that much distrust of kindness.
Which is really unfortunate, absolutely. There are simple things we can do every single day, right? Just connecting with the barista. How's your day going? What's exciting about your day, right? How are you doing? Just very simple.
Absolutely.
Or offering someone some help. You see they're in need, holding the door for someone, right?
The little jog run you have to do when it's just a little bit too far.
Yeah. I mean, just simple things. I also want to talk about how it's important to ensure that your kindness is actually what a person needs in a moment.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate your perspective. You talked about, for example, if someone in your life lost a loved one and how easy it is to send like a generic message. Thoughts and prayers are with you, condolences. And I understand we often aren't taught like what to say in these times.
The hard part is you don't know what to say. So you jump to being like, I need to do something. And sometimes it's almost filling that need of I need to do something more than doing something that's actually going to benefit that person in need.
And so share some examples. Let's say that you do have someone in your life, they experience a tremendous loss and they're grieving. What would you do to extend kindness to that person?
I've watched some childhood friends that I'm not in contact with as much anymore, but I still follow them on social media, and she talks a lot about like mothers and like families in need and that kind of thing. It's like when a mom's going through something rough, go pick up the kids for a few hours for her and just like
Free babysitting.
relieve that burden, you know? Like
Yes.
it's not so much about, you know, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry you're going through that tough time, but it's literally like, what act of kindness can I do that's actually going to benefit them in that moment and give them some time to heal on their own.
It makes me think about a friend who was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I asked this friend, we've been friends for years, what do you wish people would say or do while you're experiencing this situation, which is tremendously scary, right? And can be life-changing. And she said, you know, honestly, I wish people would just ask me how I'm doing. People in her life would be so uncomfortable, they would not even address the fact that she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She said, just simply asking, how has this situation changed? Like, what's going on for you? And just checking in instead of pretending like nothing even has happened.
And I think a lot of that comes from our discomfort and like not knowing what to do, like I mentioned earlier. In some situations, you can do the blanket, you know, Hallmark card thing. I'm so sorry. I hope you do better, you know, feel better soon thing. But in some of those situations, we don't have enough awareness of what a situation like that entails. So it does scare us. You don't always know what to say or what to do. And you think that by asking that you're being unkind.
Or intrusive. Right. And so actually that leads to my next question, which we touched on before we started shooting, the importance of direct communication. With my friend, I took a risk. I didn't know how it would be received, but like, what do you need? What do you hope people will offer in the form of support? And so you have an example of direct communication with a friend.
Just some things that I've noticed with a friend of mine that's very influential in her circles. She's amazing. I love her. And for being as young as she is, she's a little bit younger than me, having that much influence in the circles that she is, she just has a commanding presence. So she's amazing at public speaking and all of these things. But then there's some things within those interpersonal relationships that have been oversights, I guess. And I don't think she has a community that's holding her accountable. If I was in that situation and if I was in that influential of a role, I would love if somebody sat me down and was just like, hey, this is something that I'm observing. I would really love to hear your side of it, but I'd also like to share what I'm seeing. It's like it was a bad situation, but how can we turn this into something good? Does that make sense?
So I know this sounds a bit abstract, right? And we wanted to be sensitive in what is shared. But what I'm taking away, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially you're saying that it can be kind to help people understand potentially their blind spots, how they're coming across. It may be behavior that's not necessarily serving them or their group.
I think what I'm really trying to say at the end of the day is being direct is also kind. Not sugarcoating things is also kind. If your heart's in the right place, I don't think you have to sugarcoat those moments and just be like, oh, she's just learning. Because we are all learning, and it does not make her a bad person or anything like that. It's just that we sometimes need that outside perspective to help us grow as well. And so by me ignoring the problem, is that helping her? Or by me sitting down in love and in kindness, showing her the things that I'm seeing from the outside and having an open discussion where she can share her side of the conversation and I can share mine, and we can both grow and both learn.
And I appreciate that's an interesting perspective, because when you think about being nice versus being kind, what comes up for you? How would you differentiate between the two?
I think nice is sugarcoating. What you do when you don't want to be involved and then you go talk about them behind their back. Like, I think that that's not what we need in society. I think we need to start holding each other accountable in kind ways, in ways that aren't out to be malicious or hurtful. In ways that are really holding the other person's value and feelings at heart when you're having those conversations. That it doesn't devalue them, but you're also trying to be sensitive to their feelings, but you're also trying to help them grow. So you do have to have the right heart posture. But I think by not having those conversations, we're going down this black hole that just isn't benefiting society right now.
And it's interesting. It makes me think about, how divisive we are right now in America. due to our state of politics. We won't go a lot into it, but I think it can be kind to simply sit down with someone who has very different political views than yourself and taking time to understand where they are coming from and saying, I don't agree, but I want to listen and I want to learn.
And that's about what we talked about earlier, taking someone else's feelings and trying to put yourself in their shoes to understand where they're coming from and how they got to their conclusions. In turn helps us. We don't have to agree with it, but it's a support of that other person where you can have an open and honest conversation without tearing down their views because you've already put yourself in their shoes and understood where they're coming from.
This is such a fun topic.
So fun.
I'm so excited that we're addressing it. Anything else that you would like to share around kindness? Like when you are out in the world, are there certain kind of behaviors that you see people engaging in that are unkind?
Should we talk about traffic or no?
Oh my God.
Maybe we'll leave that out of this one.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Like any parting words?
Smile at someone today. Smile at somebody in the grocery store. Make eye contact. It'll make their day.
And I have to say, though, let go of expectations because I personally have had some people who are not open at all
to your kindness.
To my kindness. And I just had to remind myself, like, I don't know what is happening in that person's world. And every single person is experiencing some challenge at some point in their lives, right? So if you find that a person is unfriendly or maybe they're cold, they brush you off, whatever, it often has nothing to do with you.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
Even if you smile at somebody and they don't even want to make eye contact, like that's not personal.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you everyone for watching today. I am so grateful to have Miriam in my life. She has been a tremendous support in building my YouTube channel and sharing her expertise. And I have to say that Miriam really practices what she preaches because she provides honest feedback to me, which has helped tremendously in me becoming a better speaker and creating more engaging and dynamic videos. And Miriam could have been nice and just been like, that was great, Colleen, super duper, ooh. But instead, like, you're super honest, but I always know that you're coming from a place of goodness where we're co-creating. We both want my YouTube channel to take off and be successful.
And your topics are amazing and just things that people need to hear in life.
So thank you. I am going to include, do you mind?
Sure.
Miriam's contact information.
Absolutely.
If you are looking for a videographer in Colorado.
Or anywhere, willing to travel.
Okay. Anywhere. I'll share, again, Miriam's contact information below. So thanks again, everyone. Take care. Until next time.